I bought 170 books, but which ones were my favorites? I spent over $1,000, bought over 100 books, and fell so in love with reading. I literally am so happy about it. Oh, sorry, you went on my one, not your one, because I thought you were going to do your one, because you know how I Carly. Okay. I bought 170 books, but which ones were my favorite? Over the last 3 years, I spent over $1,000, bought over 100 books, and fell so in love with reading. I literally am so happy about it. But I thought today I would show you my entire physical collection of books and tell you guys which books that you should read. Definitely, we're going to be doing a strictly 4.5 to 5-star rating. And I have 3 different shelves, one over here, which is my pretty shelf, and then one over here. And I'm going to bring you through the entire thing and tell you which books that you should read. So let's get started. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. I miss you so much. Okay, we're gonna be starting off with the big shelf. Look how pretty. And we have my favorite books in the entire world that I'm literally obsessed with and I would spend money on every single day if I could. We have the Boys of Tom series, Finding 13, Keeping 13, and then Redeeming 6 were my 5-star books. Saving 6 was only 4 stars. I didn't really care that much about their first book, but their second book, Sobworthy, and then Johnny and Shannon are like my lifelines. So 5 stars, easy. Moving down, we have literally my favorite shelf in the entire world. Come closer. Oh, come closer. Look how freaking cute. And I have my Jellycats. This is Lila Riley. This is Louis Rune. And they have both LRV initials, but they're so freaking cute. I'm in love with them. These books were honestly all 5-star books, or at least 5-star series. In the Magnolia Park series, which is basically the Magnolia Park universe, with BJ, Magnolia, Daisy, Christian, and Julian. Julian and Daisy and Christian all have their own books separate from it. Julian's a gang lord, Daisy's his younger sister, and Christian's her love interest, who's in Magnolia's friend group, which is Magnolia and BJ, who are basically childhood friends to lovers. In high society London, they're obsessed with each other, they're in love with each other, they're the most toxic couple in the world, but they're just destined to be together. My favorite books were Magnolia Park's Long Way Home, Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, which honestly, this cover is literally like the best thing in the entire world. Like, I would spend hundreds of dollars on each cover because they're so beautiful. And then we have Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, which is Magnolia's third and final book, which was honestly 5 freaking stars every single day. And now we're waiting for the next Daisy Hates book, so I will probably be purchasing those next. And then moving, we also have the Windy City series. So these 3 books are like Chicago sport romances. We have baseball, basketball, and hockey. My favorite books are The Right Move and Caught Up. I also love Play Along, but I don't have the physical copy of that one. I read that one on my Kindle. I don't think they sell these covers anymore, but they're perfect, and I think everyone should get them. So find them somewhere because they're literally my favorite thing in the world. And then we have this shelf. This is like my Emily Henry, Elsie Silver, Lucy Score, literary fiction romance author shelf. And I have like this little Spider-Man thing. I actually got this crocheted on Etsy, and it's the prettiest thing in the entire world. I literally love it. Funny story, which honestly, my favorite Emily Henry book, Follows Daphne and Miles, is my favorite. Like, I literally, hands down, love this book. Both of their exes cheated on them with each other, and then they end up having to move in with each other, and it just kind of like goes on from there. It's like a fake dating show, but I love it. Like, I'm obsessed. I also rated Happy Place a 4.75 star. I do think I was peer pressured into that one, truthfully, because I don't think about it. Like, I think everybody was like, this is life changing. It was like a fourth wing of book talk, and I didn't care. And then I have the Chestnut Spring series. These ones I unfortunately will be passing. Abby Jimenez, like top 5 favorite authors right there. One of her books is Yours Truly, and that's the only book I rated 4.5 stars. It follows Jacob and Brianna, and they're both doctors, but they really represented like how it is to have anxiety, but in men. Because Jacob's the one with anxiety, and then Brianna is just getting out of a relationship. She's a nurse. He's the lead doctor, and I think it's like a competitive romance, but he lets her have it. I could reread this book every single day. I love this book. Like, this deserves all the hype it gets. I rated it a 4.5 star. I am a little shocked because I checked my ratings and I didn't rate Just for the Summer a 4.5 star, but I'm going to say it anyways. Because first of all, the cover is beautiful. And I'm also obsessed with the book. Like, I don't know why I didn't. Also, the premise was so good. Like, the premise was, like, I guess, like a Reddit story, and they found each other. She has this way of being so humorous, but a little fantastical. Is it fantasy realism? She uses fantasy realism in her writing, but in the perfect way. Like, I don't care if they think they're cursed. They're not, but it's really, really funny. And I love her books. Like, they are just sunshine and rainbows, and everyone should buy them. And I could talk about them all day. Now, dropping down. So I started off with romances and then I worked my way down and we're moving into fantasies. So the fantasies I thought were more like romantasies, light fantasies. Like on this shelf we have like Once Upon a Broken Heart, Powerless, Reckless, Kingdom of the Wicked, like all of those books. I didn't rate any of these books 5 stars. Like, actually, maybe Once Upon a Broken Heart. I also would really recommend that book. The World. It's like princess fantasy, but she's not a princess. But it's like the cutest world. The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is my first Brando Sandal, guys. Who's proud of me? Who's proud of me? I actually read this for school over summer, and this is literally huge. Like, it's literally criminal, and I broke the spine. But it was really, really, really good. Like, I would really recommend this. This is the beginning of the Mistborn trilogy. I think it's a trilogy, and it's about a world that used to be in slavery and they kind of like fight the rulers, I guess. It's a really sad world though. Like, I would never want to live in that world, but I did really enjoy that book and I thought it was like really surprising given the fact that I was forced to read it for school. Okay, moving down, we have my Sarah J Maas self. I don't know how to say it. I don't know if it's Sarah J Maas or Sarah J Maas, but she's literally, oh, my fantasy queen right there. We have Akatar, Throne of Glass, and Kristen City. The only book I don't have is House of Sky and Breath because I was so impatient, I just got on my Kindle. But starting with Akatar, my 5-star book, Akamoth. Oh my god, everyone read this book. I'm literally shouting this noise. So we have Akamoth. Oh my gosh, literally best fantasy in the entire world. I remember reading this April break 2 years ago, and I wish I could read it every single day. Akamoth was like stars in my eyes, favorite thing in the entire world. Everybody read this. I don't care what anyone says. It's not too smutty. It's not too anything. It's perfect. Read it. And I also think it's really good for new readers. We have Throne of Glass, which I would not recommend for new readers. It's a very long series. It's very hard to understand. But my favorite books were Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, and Kingdom of Ash. People will recommend, and I'm going to tell you right now, listen to them. This tandem read is the most important thing of the entire series because each book is about, I want to say 700 pages. And if you read this book, which comes before it, technically, reading this book and then reading this book will be the worst thing in your entire life. Like, everyone loves this book a lot more. And I actually really enjoyed this one. In the ending, you do not want to have to read this after this. So the tandem read is super important. But even saying that, this was one of my favorites. This was one of my favorites. Because I feel like Queen of Shadows was when the books started to pick up. Like, it wasn't just like the beginning of the series. It was like the perfect middle ground. And then Empire of Storms, we were just seeing like the effects of what happened in Queen of Shadows. And then Kingdom of Ash, which was the last book, 1,000 pages. I have never read a 1,000-page book, but this book, 100% worth it. Everybody read it. Everybody read this series. It was so worth it. It was so worth it. And I remember it took me like a month to read 100 pages because I was getting into a slump. And then I picked it up and I finished the thing in a week. I love this series. I love Aileen. I love Rowan. I love all of them. I literally miss them every single day. They're my favorite people in the entire world. Moving, we also have Crescent City. I only have House of Earth and Blood and House of Sky and Breath. This is actually what got me back into reading. So I heard this like theory about how the first year you start reading and then like everyone really, really loves it. And then the second year is your slump year. And I was like, I'm not gonna have a slump year. But lo and behold, January of last year, I was literally done. I could not read anymore. I was like, oh my god, I can't. I went from reading 156 books a year to 36. But I read this book in January and it literally brought me back. Like, there is hot chocolate stains on it because I got this in New York when I went to Times Square. I went to the Central Union. I think it was the Union Square Barnes and Noble, and my brother spilt that famous New York chocolate, hot chocolate, all over my books. So now there's a stain on it, but I still love these series and I still love this book and I recommend everyone read it. I know that typically 700-page books aren't supposed to be the ones to get you out of slumps, but did for me. And then I also have House of Flame and Shadow. Honestly, only thing I want to say about this book is everyone who says that it didn't live up to the hype and that it was a waste of time and that they were super bored, screw you. This book was amazing. I'm kidding. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but that hurt me. This is where I put. Okay, so I'm gonna move my mic. I have my last dusty little shelf, my new fantasies that I like just buy. So we have like the Zodiac Academy and the Mortal Instruments, which are just series I just started. But the one books that I think were 4.5, mostly Vow of Thieves, because that was the second book, is the Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves duology. these books, oh my gosh, I read them really early in my reading journey and I love them. Basically, they're like enemies to lovers, but true enemies. Like, I remember when this book was super, super popular, peak book talk, everybody's talking about like this was the peak enemies to lovers, like truly hated each other. Like, they betray each other every single turn, but they're so in love and I literally love them so much. It's a little slow in the beginning, but after a while, you really get into it and you just start to fall in love with them. But guys, look, those are my entire shelf. These are my babies. I love this. I also got this shelf for Christmas and I just put it up and I love it. Like, I have my little knickknacks that I got. Ow, my knees! Ow, my knees! This shelf is done. Should we go to the small shelf or the big shelf? Or the medium shelf? Hello. We found our way to the medium shelf. Guys, this shelf is my built-in shelf. This is my OG shelf. Like, when I first got my books, I remember I had about 8 books and they went up to here and that was it. That was all. And now I have 170. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. But from these shelves, these are where I put my romances mainly, like my rom-coms, my lit flicks, like the cool kids say. Moving down the line, we started with Better Than the Movies. Oh my gosh, this was my 5-star rom-com. It is advertised as the perfect rom-com, and it is. Like, this is the best book. Like, I cannot imagine anyone ever hating this book. I don't know how they could do it. It's amazing. She's like the cutest little redhead, and they are fake dating to get Liz's crush to like her. And they're like childhood friends and lovers, grew up together. They have like this parking spot they fight over. And he's just always been obsessed with her, but she never realized until they start fake dating. And then all of a sudden they are real dating. And it's just, oh, I love it. I wish I could see this book as a movie. It would be a perfect movie. Okay, moving along, we have The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This book I gave 4.5 stars purely because it is sunshine in a book. Like, I feel like I say that a lot for different books. They're just sunshine and rainbows. It's like 305 pages. It's perfect. It's sweet. It's laugh out loud funny. And it's about a female bodyguard and a celebrity. And it's just quick. Like, I love it. It's fake dating. It's like a vibe. Everyone read this. I love Catherine Center books. I haven't read any of her other books because I'm really scared. Like, I'm scared I'm going to read it and I'm not going to love it as much as this book. Loved her. Made me super happy. Okay, so Ashley Poston, I feel like she's not like unknown, but I feel like she's not known enough. Like, she needs more hype. One of her releases that I love the most is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. She's very like magical realism writing style. Basically, this is following a girl whose grandmother passes away, and when she moves into her apartment, like, this random man walks in and she's like, wait, who are you? Like, do you live here? And he does, because she's getting teleported 7 years into the past. So she basically meets him in the middle of the future, in the past, and through timelines, and they fall in love. Like, you don't even expect the love story that comes from it. Like, it's like a southern guy and just a city girl, and they just like, I don't know what it is about yellow covers, but amazing work, everyone. Perfect on the writer's part. Loved it over here. I also have The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. Beth O'Leary's another not recognized enough author. She's literally the best. I love her so much. Everyone read her. The Flat Share was one of my favorites. It's about basically these two people who live in the same apartment, but one lives there during the day and one lives there during the night. I love stories about falling in love through like living together and just like falling in love with who they are. Not just whatever personality they put on, but like just the little things about them. Another book I really loved was The Match by Sarah Adams. This was another really rom-com-y book. It's a epilepsy book, which I really liked because I like reading books about topics I have no experience in. I just liked learning about it. But it's about, I don't know their names, guys. I'm really sorry. But this basically, our FMC, she starts a business about dogs who help kids with epilepsy. And our MMC's daughter reaches out to her because she wants one of the dogs because she has epilepsy. And they meet through that because she sets up like the scheme to get the dog, and then they meet and the parents are like, wait, and her dad's like, wait, who is this? And she's like, oh, I thought you hired me. And then she ends up convincing her dad for the dog, and they just fall in love and they get to spend so much time together, and it's like forced proximity, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I read that on vacation in Cabo, and perfect vacation book, so sweet and fluffy. Everyone read it. More books I have, these are my lit fix. This isn't romance, but we have Anxious People by Friedrich Bachmann, which I just finished. Oh my gosh, I need every single person to read this book. Like, it was not 5 stars. I rated it as 4.5 stars, but I'm an idiot. His writing style is literally the perfect thing in the entire world. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how his entire book is playing on the fact that we're human. And he's describing things so perfectly. It's like he's here in your head telling you how you're living your life, and he's perfect, and I need him, and I love him, and this was an amazing book. I cannot wait to continue his backlist. Basically, it's about a bank robbery that's not a bank robbery. And that's literally all you need to know. Because you read it and you're like, okay, there's a bank robber who wasn't really a bank robber, who you find out isn't really anybody who you think it is, and it's just a bunch of hostages, but none of them are hostages. Like an unraveling of one event and showing you how the simplicity of life is just an illusion. Another book we have is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This book is a literary fiction. It's about Sully and Katie. They are best friends. We watched them in the 70s in their 8th grade year to basically death. And we just see the story of their friendship, and I think it is such a good book. It was only 4.25 stars, but I thought I would mention it because I think everyone should read this book. A lot of people cry. I didn't cry, but a lot of people do, and I do think you should try it out. And they just have such important topics talked about in this book. Trigger warnings for sure, though. Like, I would definitely search up the trigger warnings, but they talked about so many, like, important things. And it's just such an important story, and I think everyone should read it. Okay, moving down, we have our second shelf. These books are my fantasy books that I really enjoy. My favorites here that I rated 4.5 stars were, of course, Six of Crow duology. This book, oh my gosh, it is another book talk book that is perfect. Like, I literally, all the hype. This book is about a heist about 6 different people all in the Grishaverse. The Grishaverse is such a good universe. Like, I think it's perfect. I think it's such a great fantasy, and I really want to see the show. I know it's been 3 years, but this book, obviously, all the hype. Cass Breaker, my first boyfriend. At least my first book boyfriend, but he was my first everything, obviously. He's like my Julian hates of fantasy. I also have The Cruel Prince. These books, I would not give 5 stars today, but I did give 5 stars at the time. This book is not a fantasy romance, which is actually so funny because it was really advertised as a fantasy romance, but it's really not. It's following Jude. When her parents are murdered, her and her sister are stolen from the human world to this world of Fae, and then they're trying to fit in, and she finds herself with an enemy, which happens to be one of the princes, and that's kind of just how it goes. The first book is really just about Jude finding herself, and then the Cardin kind of gets brought into the plot a little bit more. I did rate these books 5 stars at the time. Would I do it again? I don't think so, but I did love that series, and I think it's worth everything in the entire world. We have the entire Heritage Game series. I actually don't have the second book on me. I gave it to my friend, but I rated every single book 5 stars. This was such an easy read. It's about Avery, who basically finds out that she is inheriting a bunch of money from an old guy who just passed away, but she doesn't know him. And his entire family, who was a bunch of rich people, is like, well, who is this random girl? Why is she inheriting all this money? And he left a bunch of riddles for the kids. And basically they solve all these riddles. There's a love story. There's a triangle. And honestly, my team won. So who cares? I really just loved this book. It was such an easy read. Following that, we also have the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. They're the Naturals. So basically each one of them have like a superhuman ability, which is like not like superheroes, but in a way where it's like they're really, really good at something. Basically, like a group of about like 5 kids all solve FBI cases. The books I rated the highest were All In and Bad Blood, which is the 3rd and the 4th book. Each book is a different crime, but I rated the 3rd and the 4th book 5 stars, and I love them. And they're really good, and I would really recommend this to anyone just getting to reading, just getting to mystery, just been reading for years. It's literally so easy, it's so light, it's so perfect. Everybody read those books. What do we have left? We have our small shelf, do we? Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna pull the books, I think. I'm gonna just pull the books from my small shelf. Alright, it's not even here. Hold on. Stay there. Stay there. Okay, guys, the one book from my small shelf that is literally the best book in the entire world, and my favorite movie in the entire world, the 2019 version, of course, with Timothée Chalamet, Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh? I'd marry that girl. But and we have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is a classic that honestly I've never read another classic, but I am obsessed. I love them. If you haven't heard of Little Women, honestly, where have you been? It's about 4 different sisters, and they're all just growing up, but they're living in Massachusetts. It's basically just a story about their lives, and it's perfect. And I love that movie so much. Everybody read it, please. But I think that's it. Those are like my top 5. Like top 5 star, 4.5 star, romance, fantasy, all the books, my entire physical TBR. These are my bookshelves, which I really, really, really love. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for following me along for it. And I hope you have a great day. And I'll miss you so much. And I love you so much. And I'll see you in the next one, hopefully. I can see that you're still here. What are you doing here? I told you to go. Get out.